Hooptie Joyride with Brian and Steve, alright.
All right, we're live. Hooptie Empire. We've expanded. We're beyond nations. We're going galactic next. Hooptie Empire. Collector, how you doing?
All is well. How you been, Mr. Dreamer?
You know, sleeping, dreaming.
Somebody's got to do it.
That's right. It's good work if you can get it. I'm pretty excited. We've got the People's Hoopties this week. This is some pretty exciting stuff. An idea that was born, you get all the credit for it. You said, hey, what if we focus on a particular make? And because we've got some experience with this one, we said, let's just, take a look at different Volkswagens. So everything this week is a Volkswagen. And I mean that. Everything.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll let the audience be the judge.
Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with that. But
no.
This is going to be exciting. We've got a lot to show, so I think we should probably just jump right in. But maybe 1 second by way of background. Between the two of us, we've owned a couple of Beetles. I know your family had some Fastback or some Squarebacks.
We did.
You've got one of the Volkswagens or two examples of the Volkswagens.
Two examples.
One of them definitely qualifies as a Hooptie. The other one, I'm not so sure because it might be just a little too nice for us, but it is what it is. Yeah, and we've owned Golfs and GTIs and all kinds of stuff. So it is a make that's near and dear to us. We've had a lot of fun with Volkswagens over the years, and hopefully we can bring some of that fun to the audience today.
Yeah, a lot of fun autocrossing them, and even did a little drag racing in the past with it, and just now driving them. So, yeah.
We may have even found out what 100 shot of nitrous will do to a Volkswagen, 4-cylinder motor, maybe.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start it up here then. All right, kicking it off. We'll start with probably the most iconic, especially after this year's Super Bowl, but the most iconic model of Volkswagen, which would be the Beetle, right? Produced for quite a long time if you include South American production, and a common platform for all kinds of stuff like we're going to see.
All right, so our first one is a 68 Beetle coming to us from Nichols, New York. Asking $2,700 at this point. So it still gives you $2,300 towards your budget.
I like the aluminum racing wheels. Gives it a little flair.
Yes. Complete car. It runs. The listing actually has a video of it running. 1600 cc, dual port. Floor plans, heater channels, some of the stuff that's included needs some work, as you see. Stock looking. Could go back to a stock look. All right, let's see. Let's show you some more photos, see what we got.
Yeah, tons of new parts. I think it was the dropped spindles in the front, so just to give it a little bit of a cool rake to it.
And it's supposed to be front disc conversion also on it for the brakes.
That's great. Looks like it's maybe in the middle of a restoration, so a little bit of work to do to put it back together. Some assembly required, but it looks like a decent car.
It's got the fenders. You just got to clean them up and bolt them back on.
I like that the paint's got a little shine to it. It looks like, at least in the photos, it might clean up pretty nice. All right. We're just going to keep the Beetle train rolling. This one is a 64. It's an actual Baja bug, which was I think a trim package you could get back in the day, coming from Union City, Tennessee, kind of below the midpoint of the budget. So you still are fictional $5,000 budget for those that remember, to buy, fix, do whatever you need to do. So this one's got almost 3K left, which is pretty impressive. I think the other impressive thing is it's been cut down to make it a bit of a convertible, it looks like, or was a convertible cut into a Baja. So meant to have open air, no top at all. Seems like a pretty solid car from the outside, maybe a little bit of surface rust or a few things to take care of. The interior, a little bit different. Doesn't seem like it has much to do here. Maybe your Fred Flintstoning it because there's also no motor that goes along with it. No title, looks like a bill of sale. So you're going to use a little bit of your budget to get this one back up and doing something, but you got something unique to start with.
Yeah. So there's no interior, no top, no motor, like you said. I think with this, you just rhino line it and make it a driver.
Yeah.
Go on Baja.
Yeah. You should be able to pick up a motor pretty easily. Cool. Next up.
All right.
Is what?
63 Dune buggy. Coming to us from what's that?
Von Terre, I think is how they pronounce it.
Okay.
Yeah.
$2,500, so half your budget. So I guess back in the 60s, the various manufacturers made these fiberglass Dune buggy bodies. You pull the old bug body off, you drop it on the pan, use the drivetrain, and you got something a little unique, different. Don't know what manufacturer this one is. The ad for this listing is very minimal, not much at all, actually. Basically said no description other than they don't know.
Neither do we. This one looks a bit to me like the car in our logo. So it's got a little bit of a sweet spot for me personally.
Yeah. At least one of us have a seat.
Looks like it may have a motor, so a little different from the previous one, right? Doesn't have the wheels all splayed out like they would be, rear engine. If it is complete, I mean, it looks to have lights and everything else. If it's complete, not a bad ride.
It could be fun. 2,500, clean it up. Could be a fun ride.
Yeah. And they're pretty light. You could throw some knobby tires on it and take it almost anywhere. So pretty cool ride.
Yeah. So just an example of what could be done if you had a good Beetle pan. All right, we're going a little more modern here with the 2006 Beetle. Hanson, Kentucky, $3,870.
Oh, it's convertible.
Yes, it is.
A couple of paint chips and stuff, but
yeah, so the listing, once again, this listing did not have much description. It just said it needs minor cosmetic blemishes, but overall, a good car. So, if you're looking for a convertible as a starter car or a fun car.
Yeah, it's got some, what are those, Porsche 911 wheels? It looks like turbo wheels.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of the 997 Porsche 911 turbo wheels, yes.
Yeah.
A little different, but yeah, close.
I will say this one's not for me, and I'm a little hesitant that we included it, but it is almost 20 years old now. It's got some blemishes. Who knows what the interior is like? Maybe it's a soon to be Hooptie, right? Maybe it's you're getting it before it's a Hooptie.
Yes, yeah. It'll appeal to it could be a good car for your teenage child. Fun car for them running around in. So
yeah.
It's a start. It's a start.
It is a start. Well, I think we're going to go stay a little bit modern with the next one, but it definitely qualifies as a Hooptie.
Yeah, so this one says it's a 1989 Beetle. Well, we'll have a story for that in a second. It's coming to you from Vineland, New Jersey, $1,200. So
I think the amount of budget there is going to be necessary on this one.
Yes. So there's no title. Does have the VINs, etc. What this is actually it's sitting on a Chevy S10 truck frame with a 9-inch rear. Hence why it's called a 1989 because it's on an early or late S10 chassis. It has a full roll cage. The floors have been done. Has a fuel cell. He has the exhaust, but no headers for it. And it does say that it'll fit a 350 small block in it. So, unique. The front hood. Let's see what. Yep.
A little PT Cruiser nose action.
Yes. And looks like you got the headlights, or hey, it's different.
I think the listing said it called it the Grave Digger. Maybe it's going for some sort of retro, some homage.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the rear door or panel for the back. But it's pretty neat how they Frenched in those taillights. As you see, the front end is set up for 350 up front. No interior pictures. I don't know how they did the center tunnel to run a drive shaft back, etc. And there's no talk about what transmission they've put in it. So,
yeah, I don't see. Well, it looks like it has a revised pedal box assembly, so maybe it'll run a 5-speed or something. But
yep.
For the price, you got something different, interesting. Probably come up with a 350, relatively inexpensive. Throw an automatic behind it, and drive around. Pretty cool.
Yes.
Well, we'll switch it up from then the Beetles to the pregnant punch buggies, if you will. This first one, the price seems right, but I also think it's still pretty high, given what we've got. It's a 66 bus. It is coming to us from Hannah City, Illinois, $1,150. So definitely some budget to work with.
You're going to need it.
It's going to need some glass. Definitely it has some dents, dings, rust. I think the top somebody probably danced on. Looks like the earth is slowly trying to reclaim it. So you've got that to contend with. Overall, I mean, it does look complete. So it's not the worst starting point potentially. It's you got your nice side curtains. I think you had an idea about what you could do with the interior of this one.
Yeah, I said, maybe for the budget, you just clean up the interior, throw a bed in it, and call it an Airbnb behind your house.
Nice.
Make some rental income off of it instead of trying to put this back on the road. You've already got some curtains, and you clean it up.
That's true. I like the Airbnb angle. You just throw a composting toilet in it, and you're good to go.
I think when you get to the passenger side, you'll see a little more options here.
Oof.
All the junk pile there, you could clean. You could put a deck out, a little platform there, come out, and maybe a tent over it, so you can sit outside.
It comes with its own courtyard.
Yes. Yeah, there's such a following of Volkswagen culture. It may do well if you clean it up and call it an Airbnb, Verbo. You might get some interesting renters.
That's true.
Like the lifestyle. So
It does not appear to be the worst starting point. Obviously, unknown condition about the floor pans or anything else. The description basically said you can call the owner between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. And give us your best offer. So you might be able to pick this one up for next to nothing. And then have your landlord dreams come true.
All right. Let's see what the next one is.
We got one that's, I think, a little bit better shape. So this one's a 68 Westy coming to us from Paris, Tennessee, at a pretty good number, I think, for what it looks to have. No motor or trans. But overall, looks like a pretty solid vehicle. It's not sunken into the ground 1.5 feet, so that's a good start.
Well, yet.
The
seller did make a comment in his ad that it could sit here forever if he doesn't get the offer.
Well, then it might end up. Give it about 10, 15 years, and it'll look like the previous bus that we had. Looks like it's had a little bit of work to it. It's originally a California car, so hopefully not too much rust. It does say there's rust in the battery tray, which I think we have a photo of. But yeah, it seems to be pretty decent looking ride. FIDO approved.
Yeah, it's no motor or transmission. But it's got a clean Tennessee title, new wheel bearings in the rear, and 3/4 of the rims have been powder coated with good tires all around. So
Yeah, pretty nice. A couple of rust spots, dents, but
yeah, it had been a
nothing.
California bus at one point in its life.
Yeah, yeah. And I gotta say, if this is what he considers rust, I'll take it.
Yeah,
This being the battery tray, as we've said a couple of times, no motor or trans, but those are easy to come by. I think you could, for under budget, probably have a neat little bus to run around with.
or you buy this plus the other one, you can have a little campground of Westphalias for your rentals.
Yeah, your own tiny home village
Yes.
/ junkyard. I like it. Cool. Well, we're going to switch it up now. We're going to go to some other stuff. I'll let you talk about this one because I think you know a little bit more about the Fastbacks than I do.
Yeah, so it's a 1970 Fastback come to us from Jessup, Maryland. It's pushing the budget at $4,000. So it's going to be tough to do, a full restoration on this, obviously, for the $5,000 budget. But it looks complete. I'm going to say it looks like there's some rust down there, and there's rockers. It's got, I believe they're called the Riviera wheels on it. Love-hate relationship with some of the folks on those wheels. It currently has a stock running motor in it with Weber 34s that were installed a few years ago. Front end was lowered slightly. So the owner has recently passed away, so the family's looking to sell on his behalf or their behalf. It's had a lot of motor work done. It sounds like it's been punched out to about almost 1,800 cc motor.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what the stock would have been on this back in the 1970. But he's including some used extra parts, such as a matching seat for the driver's side, back seat, some used door panels, extra clocks, a monster tack, as he calls it, with a shift light and the factory radio.
That seems ambitious.
Yeah, so it'd be, you don't see many Fastbacks out there anymore. We chose this to put on here. Obviously, it needs some work, but it's going to be a tough budget with only $1,000 left, unless you can get some negotiation.
For sure. I mean, it does sound like some work has been done with the ball joints, like and wheel cylinders and calipers and stuff like that. Comes with a bunch of parts. Maybe the worst of what we're seeing is literally just the fact that it's been spray canned with 6 different shades of primer and some other stuff. But if that's keeping the rust at bay, who knows? Not so bad. There's a shot of the interior. Need some door cards. Got the T-handle shifter, so clearly it's going to go fast.
That's why it has the monster tack with a shift light.
Look out.
Floor plan there looks solid to me from this photo.
It does. So, a lot of definitely some hours probably saved in any kind of body work. And it comes with a bunch of parts. So I was originally going to say this was the overpriced award, but the more we talk about it, I'm like, for a fairly rare body style with, stuff that's been done, if it runs or looks like it'll run with minimal effort, you may be pretty far along for something that you can drive around in.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just depends on how bad that rust is on the exterior.
Yeah.
Rust is expensive to repair. So.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, then moving on, we've got something even more different. I think you don't see too many of these days. You used to see a bunch of them in the 80s, but it's a 74 Volkswagen Thing. It's coming to us from Canton, Ohio. This one is right at the budget. So You better hope it doesn't need too much. Looks like maybe some, spray rust repair or rust inhibitor. Does come with the doors and got a rebuilt motor, seats, roll bar. Looks like it has most of it to assemble, so some assembly required, but it does have a title as well, so you got that going for it. The seller states it was his grandfather's project, and this guy doesn't know too much about him, so he's just looking to pass it on to somebody that would. He does don't ask millions of questions, so 1 million is probably okay, but you get past that, you go from there. Maybe let's take a quick pause here and just do a customer service announcement for those of you trying to sell your cars. Take a decent photo. Don't take one at an angle. Don't take one upside down. Don't just put a little bit of work into it. We had to do a little bit of a picture collage here to get these things in a place where you didn't throw out your neck trying to see what you were looking at. But it does look like it's pretty solid car, overall. So a little bit of assembly, probably not a terrible buy. You'll have something, very different. People do seem to, the people that like these like them a lot. So if that's you, head over to Ohio. This one's yours. Another thing you don't see too often anymore.
1981 Rabbit LX, Mount Juliet, Tennessee, $2,300. This is actually a truck. The old Rabbit trucks.
How about that?
I believe they also did them in gas, but this one happens to be a diesel model, 5-speed. But unfortunately, the engine is stuck. So I guess a good chunk of your budget's going to have to go to getting the motor taken care of. Says it has AC. It's original paint. It's been sitting for years. When we get to the back end, we'll talk about the back. There is no title, but it would make a very nice project. So, it looks pretty solid there. Maybe a little speck or two in the rockers. I believe these things had a very high payload capacity. I think they were a ton or so almost.
Yeah.
They were surprisingly sturdy vehicle.
Along with the bus. The bus had a high payload as well. Yep.
So, let's see. Let's take a look at that back end for a second. If you got that photo there.
Yeah.
All right. So there's no taillights. For some reason, somebody wanted to steal the taillights off of it. They thought they needed them more than the seller. So you'll have to source your own taillights since somebody already stole these. You do see a little rust there along the back of the bed, the cab there. So a little cleanup, but overall it could be a pretty cool ride. Slow, but very good fuel mileage with the diesel in it once you get it running.
Yeah, and you probably could source a gas 4-cylinder to drop in as well. It's probably pretty easy. It'd be a different mini truck, that's for sure.
Yeah,
if you went that route.
Yeah, I think a neat set of different wheels on it would really make it a little more sporty per se.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe like the rims that are on our next car that we're getting ready to show.
Perhaps. I do have a thought, and I don't want to stereotype. So to all of our listeners, viewers in Tennessee, if you haven't subscribed. If you have subscribed, don't unsubscribe based on what I'm going to say. But maybe it was a moonshine truck. Good payload, take out the taillights, some backcountry roads. You could be delivering some shine. Who knows?
As you're clanging down the road and that old diesel puffing out.
That's true. The exhaust rolling coal might give you away.
Yeah. All right.
We got a shot of the dead motor, so crime scene.
All right. So we got a 1984 Scirocco coming from Rockford, Tennessee. $3,000 asking price. All right, so it's got I guess a rust primered front hood with the little race stripes there up front.
Because these things were fast. You know that, right? These were,
Oh yeah,
that's your indicator that these things were able to get out of their own way.
yeah. This is a pretty cool car. He says it runs and drives perfectly. Okay, of course we got our Joyride license plate on the back of the Scirocco.
Clearly a fan. Yep.
Yeah. He said it runs perfectly fine. It was his daily driver and everything worked as it should. DSK trans, full exhaust, 3-inch downpipe, new front grille, boost gauge, stage 1 tune.
Yeah, I think you're reading the wrong description, my friend.
Oh, I sure am. Okay, well, back up. I got the wrong description. Okay. Eight valve with many new parts to list for sale or trade. It does drive home now. You can drive it home, he says.
Yeah.
Other than that, not much else on this particular car. So.
Yeah, the motor that we may or may not have blown up, or at least smoked the rings in, was an 8-valve Volkswagen. So same power plant as this. I think it topped out maybe 90 horsepower. If you were downhill in a tailwind, you may have gotten up to speed. So not the fastest of this model. Some people do put the VR6 in there, which is good for about 175, 172, something, some weird number of horsepower. So that's possible. Or, it is, you've almost got like a Porsche 924 type platform in a Volkswagen that this one seems to run and drive. So, probably best to just take it home, clean it up, and see where you can go.
Paint the front hood to match and see where it goes.
Yeah, it's kind of a decent looking ride. Looks like it's got some sort of GTI rims, possibly.
They're the wheels I was thinking would be nice on that truck that we just showed.
Yeah, for sure.
That would clean the truck up.
Yeah, that would look sharp.
Complete, minus maybe a headliner. Aftermarket dashboard cover pad. So,
yeah, seems like it may have been cared for quite a bit,
yep.
Being in this state. So, all right, coming up again, stepping a bit more modern. This one I think qualifies a bit more as a hoopty because it's got a sagging headliner. One of the headlights doesn't work. We'll see that some of the clear coat is peeling on this one as well. It's coming from Louisville, Kentucky. It is a bit high on the price point, but you got a complete running car with a bunch of parts. It's got new trans. It's got a full exhaust, 3-inch downpipe, new grille. It is a turbo model, so you can make sweet whistling noises as you are tooling around the parking lot. But says it runs perfectly fine. It's his daily driver. Everything works as it should, except for the headliner, I guess. Seems like it'd be a pretty decent ride. Again, another where is it really a hoopty? I don't know, but I'm going to say yes.
I think it'll appeal to a newer generation, a younger generation of kids.
Yep.
So, yeah,
for sure. And we can see the clear coat is peeling there on one half of the hood for some reason, but probably easy enough to spray that. Public service announcement. Just take a normal photo. All right. And our other Volkswagen. So this one here, and I know this is maybe a bit tongue-in-cheek. It was sold as a Volkswagen in Europe, so it's not completely out of the question, but it is a Porsche 914 coming from Delaware. It's a bit high on the budget, and probably a bit maybe not the right purchase for it. It's a V8 conversion project. It's got a transmission, a couple of V8 engines that the seller thinks are Chevys. Not sure why you can't figure that out, but some photos in the actual listing will obviously all of the links to this week's cars are in the show notes, so feel free to take a look. The eagle eyes among our visitors will probably spot what engine family it is pretty quickly, but it does come with it. It's an all or nothing, so you got to take basically everything that the guy has on offer. But these are pretty cool rides, and I can say that because you've got a couple. One we actually raced in a contest, a couple of years ago, and you've got another one that's in really good shape as well. So they are fun. I think there's even one. Yeah, there it is.
There it is, Tail of the Dragon.
That's the non-hoopty one that you've got.
Yep. Down the Tail of the Dragon with a 914 crowd. So
that's a fun ride. It's that was a great trip. This one looks to be mostly there. A little questionable safety with the stacked wood as the jack stands, but doesn't seem to want to flip over yet. That's good.
Yeah, so it looks like a stock motor there with an aftermarket carb on it. Stock drivetrain sitting there. So I guess that comes with it. I don't remember seeing any pictures of the V8s offhand.
I don't think we grabbed any, but there are some in the listing. There was a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Originally he was trying to sell it with the white car. The white car apparently has sold. So you're only getting the black/red one. It's complete. You can go back to the stock, stock drivetrain, relatively easy. Or go with the V8 upgrade. A lot of cutting and routing because you need to come up with a path for cooling. You usually lose a good portion of your front trunk or frunk for radiator and stuff up front. But either way, a lot of people are doing it. There's a lot of people doing a Subaru conversion. Some of them also are just going with a air-cooled 6-cylinder for more pep. So either way, I can tell you from experience, they're fun car, stock. They're not going to be the fastest on the road, but boy, they handle like their own rails. So it can be fun.
And you feel like you're sitting right on the ground. I mean, you are right there in it. Yeah. It's a unique experience.
Plenty of space inside, plenty of space. And, they're actually nice for a little road trip because you have the front trunk and, there's rear trunk space. Target top comes off and designed so it only took up about an inch of height within the trunk in the back. So pretty useful the way it was designed.
Yeah, it is a pretty neat ride. I mean, a lot of thought went into it. They sold fairly well at the time, but they were about the cost of a 911. So it was a bit of a challenge, but definitely a cool following, good aftermarket support for it. Little tongue-in-cheek calling it a Volkswagen, but it is still a pretty cool ride. I think somebody could enjoy it. Which brings us to, we've got a consensus for once. We've got a consensus on our pick of the week. It is a 66 Autodynamics. You'll see what that means here in a second. It's a Mark V, just like Speed Racer. Coming from Norwood, Mass, a suburb of Boston, so coming out of the Northeast. A bit high on the budget, but that's okay. It's $3,800, and we say that's okay because it's a race car. It's a Formula V. This thing is cool. I like it. You and I have been talking about these for a minute between ourselves. Yep. We've found a few. At this price point, this seems to be a beautiful, complete. It's going to need going through. Comes with some spares, comes with some parts, but seems to be all there. It's if it's a true Formula V, it should be a 1200cc motor based on the SCCA rule spec. Volkswagen Beetle brakes, Beetle suspension. You could upgrade shocks and things, but overall, the whole point of this was take a pretty much stock Volkswagen drivetrain, Not that people didn't hop them up, but you could take a stock drivetrain, and companies like Autodynamics, like Lynx, I think there was a few others, made the chassis for these, good safety features and things like that. And away you go. I mean, there was an entire Formula V racing class in the SCCA back in the 70s. A ton of vintage racers are running them today. Or you could be like you and me, where we're like, let's get one and just autocross it, because could have a top speed of about 120 miles an hour. You won't see that on an autocross course, but overall, this one's cool. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. So the listing also says it comes with a spare body, 8 sets of wheels, and a new battery. It's got it's got fire extinguishers with CO2 and hang-on. So it's set up and ready to roll. Just needs some tuning.
Yeah, you could probably get this going pretty easily. Take it to some vintage races and roll yourself. Have a blast. This thing looks cool. There's your battery up front for weight distribution. But they do even more than the 914. This thing handles like it's on rails, and these are just a fun ride.
Yep.
Easy to work on. You could spend all day at the track. Pretty reliable in general, due to the Volkswagen drivetrain. Just cool. I like it.
Yeah, it was an easy pick for the week for this one.
Yeah, this one was definitely no question. Here's a look at the cockpit. You got the shifter right there, close at hand. This one has the big moon loud pedal, gas pedal, so that's pretty cool. Only the basic set of gauges, right? Temperature, oil pressure, tack, and away you go. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a cool car.
Fun car.
We've talked about it. We're going to have to pick one of these up and go at it. So, yep.
Yeah, we've got the donut challenge, and that's not going in circles. That's winner gets a donut. We've traded that back and forth. Not the same donut. We eat them, but we trade them back and forth. Fastest time of the day on the autocross course. Definitely a cool ride.
Yes, it is. So, all right. Well, viewers, subscribers, give us your feedback. Give us some comments, and what do you think? If there's anything that you want to send in that we can talk about, send them in. There's if you like this format of kind of one make, we'll see if we can come up with something else like this again in the future. So we're looking for some feedback.
Yeah.
So
as always, we want to hear from people. Another note, HooptieJoyride.com is updated with some details on some other rides. We take a little bit different approach there, just reviewing an individual ride. We appreciate everybody. It's been another fun week. Collector, this was a great idea. This was fun. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. I'd love to do this with another make. We can debate which one, but this has been fun.
Yeah, we'll debate and come up with criteria. It's going to meet our Hooptie criteria and go from there.
Sounds awesome. Can't wait.
All right. Till next time. Have a good week.
Peace, everybody.